thank y'all for coming. This is the first time Texas Sports Hall of Fame Book Festival, the inaugural. Which, Bryce, what did you say? It should be called the inaugural.
First annual is not.
Leave it to the sports editor to give us, yeah. So this session is about the book Houston Astros, Deep in the Heart, Blazing a Trail from Expansion to the World Series, right? Yeah. And here I have Bill Brown, is Community Outreach Executive for the Houston Astros. He's working part-time after being a play-by-play broadcaster for the team on television for 30 years, from 1987 to 2016. He also served as a play-by-play TV broadcaster for the Cincinnati Reds for seven years, 76 to 82. He's a graduate of University of Missouri. Brown and Mike Acosta co-authored Houston Astros Deep in the Heart, Blazing a Trail from Expansion to the World Series. And Bill has also co-authored My Baseball Journey, a sportscaster's story, and authored Breathing Orange Fire, Jose Altuve. By the way, that's my favorite pro baseball jersey. Yeah. And this is Mike Acosta. And he's head of Astros Authentics. He oversees game, used items fans can purchase, from broken bats, game-worn jerseys to foul balls. The items are authenticated in-house in conjunction with the MLB authentication program. Somewhere around 2003, he was placed in charge of the team's archive after 2 years working with authenticators. By 2009, he settled into his current role as the team's authentication manager. So I'll turn it over to you guys.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you guys for coming today. We have a number of slides prepared because we thought it would be rather boring. So Mike stayed up until, 2 o'clock in the morning with the PowerPoint presentation. No, not really. I had promised Jay that we were going to do PowerPoint, and then I totally forgot. Mike whipped something together about 4 o'clock yesterday. But it took us a while to get this book published. We are both passionate about Astros history, but not a lot of people were. And then it's the matter of whether a book's going to sell or not, what's marketable, and things like that. So we were collaborating, and Mike had all the photos, but a little work had to be done to get them ready for publishing. Tell us about that.
We did. We have a rather extensive library of photos, negatives, slides, newspaper articles, videotapes, films, and we had not really tapped into that before. So when we finally got the book approved, we were able to get a budget to restore a lot of this stuff. In fact, right now we have another phase of this digital process where all those films and movies and videos that go back into the 60s, they're all being digitized. And so I've been looking at them as they come over week to week. I mean, this has been about an 18-month process. We turned over 15 pallets worth of videos to this company in Houston that processes, and they restore, they digitize, they protect the assets. Same thing with the photos. We had a vendor who went into the slides, found coffee stains on a slide or scratches on another photo, and just very meticulously went in and corrected them and restored them, and now they're high-res pictures. So a lot of them, some of them, I mean, there's so many. I mean, we have thousands of photos. We have 53 slides here today, so this is just a blink of what we have. We could easily spend 8 hours going over this stuff and not even see it all and go through all the stories. So the goal with the book was to bring the stories, the interviews, the words of the players, the people that were involved with the franchise over the years, but also to visually experience everything. It's one thing to read about it, but it's another thing to really see a unique point of view, to see the color pictures that maybe you've never seen before. And there were some pictures before we put them in the book I had never seen, and I had combed through our archives over and over. So it was really nice to finally get the book together. We went through like 3 revisions of it. It died a couple of times, but perseverance really kept it going. It went through an ownership change with the franchise too, and so we were really happy to see it come to fruition.
We're also very happy that the price of this book is $10, which I didn't realize till today.
Yeah, it's currently $10. It was a $40 book, but our retail department, they're in the mode of constantly moving product, and so they get a little nervous when, books are usually a little bit slower to sell, so they mark them down, and they're $10. So we have them out there for $10 if you're interested. And they're really good. One of the things that we wanted to do with the book too was put the photos in there to where if you were at an autograph signing and you see a player that's in the book, there's plenty of room to get an autograph on the photo itself. So that was part of the mindset of the layout of the book too. So
as enamored as we both have been with history and Astros history, the present is pretty good too. Just a historic season, not only for the Astros club in their 56 years, but historic throughout baseball to have a team this good and to be ranked, first in the league in so many offensive departments at the All-Star break, and 289 batting, just crazy statistics compared to today's game. The way most things are going in baseball, as you know, is more strikeouts by hitters, lower batting average, more home runs. Well, the Astros are leading in home runs, but they also are hitting for a far higher batting average than any other team. They're striking out less than anyone. Their pitchers, though, lead the majors in strikeouts. So it's really been a dominant year so far. And these guys have a lot to do with it. Homegrown players, Altuve and Correa. Love those uniforms. We'll be seeing them again this year, right?
we saw them once in Seattle on the road. We want to do a turn back the clock game every year. It's part of our heritage of the club, so we're going to see that. This is probably the most popular throwback uniform, and there's really 4 different versions. I know a lot of people don't know that, but the star, it's a smaller size. It's outlined in white versus red. Sometimes the collar is a 2-tone navy and orange. So this right here was from our turn back the clock game where we marked the 1980 team. So that's a 1980 look specifically right there. And then we have our next one. Speaking of our current team, George Springer.
And I think if you're talking about if the season were to end today, who would the MVP be in the American League? These 3 guys would probably be in the top 5 in the voting. And that's what kind of a sensational year they're all having. They've all progressed. Altuve was here earlier, as you know, but these other 2 guys are coming on like gangbusters and 3 All-Stars. So it's a great time to be an Astros fan. Now we're going to turn back the clock a little bit.
Yeah.
Where do you want to take us to? Rusty Staub?
Well, we're going to look right back to Apache Junction. This is before the Colt 45s really even played a game. In fact, that uniform there, that's kind of a generic Houston uniform that the Colt 45s didn't even wear. But this is back in Arizona. That's Harry Kraft, the manager, with Rusty Staub, who I believe was 19 years old at that time. So he's a little bit younger than what Carlos Correa is right now. And then that is Superstition Mountain in the background. You can see a lot of the field is fairly new. It looks like they hadn't really mowed it. They're setting it up. They're growing the grass. The wall looks brand new. They haven't even painted it out there. I mean, this is about as early as you can get. And Rusty was one of the guys, when they signed him, they actually signed his brother too, to get the whole family involved with the franchise. That's how highly they thought of him back then. But, he was, go ahead, Bill, you have something there?
Mike, this reminds me of transplanting 2 guys in baseball onto Mars.
Yeah.
Doesn't even look like today's baseball.
Yeah, if you had guys walk out onto a field like this, they would walk off, and it's like you can't be serious. But it's a different time, it's a different era, and they're looking intently at that bat right there. I guess looking for some home runs. This is a picture that is the very first pitch in franchise history, and if you look at the scoreboard, you see zeros all the way across. This is April 10th, 1962. That's Bobby Shantz pitching to Ernie Banks. And the Colt 45s won 11-2 that day. And then this is where it started, 56 seasons ago. And over at Colt Stadium, which was in the parking lot, right there by the Astrodome. You have anything?
Mike had acquired a friendship with the gentleman who took this photo. Not only did he take this photo, you can see the first pitch in the light there, right? Okay, so